Hello and welcome to Kaze Zwifts. We've got the Zwift Games this week, so straight into the Kaze Kicker, stage 1 of 5 weeks. There is going to be a week 6, which has got 2 races, a time trial and a fun race kind of thing with loads of power-ups, but they're not included in the overall GC, that's just weeks 1 to 5. So the course this week, 17.3 kilometres and 140 metres climbing. And we'll be racing in the advanced category, so as hard as it gets on Zwift, and I'll be struggling to keep up with my category B pace. We'll be using the Tarmac SL8 along with the die-cut 85 wheels. And not even a minute into our race we've got our first breakaway attempt. So a lot of these riders are a lot faster than me, Cat A's and Cat A plus pace, and some guys even using their feather early on to try and catch the breakaway. So Zwift Games are a bit different, you only get one feather for the whole race. There's a lot of the other races, you usually get a power up under every banner. This one you start with a feather and it's to last you the whole race. So my game plan is to hold on to my feather for as late in the game as possible. I know I'm not going to be catching some of these A plus riders, but I just want to make sure I'm using my power ups competitively to keep me in a good place for my Cat B pace. A lot of riders not getting the memo that the power ups aren't given under every banner. So skipping ahead, we're going into the Pain Cavern. So the Pain Cavern's not an official calm segment, but it's still a difficult climb, 5-minute effort here really, and could definitely split the pack up. So far the group's still mostly together, not dropped any out the back, but we've still got the Cat A plus guys out in front. Some more guys popping their feathers here just to try and close that gap to the faster climbers. The climb's very draftable. I'm quite happy just biding my time and letting the legs do the work and letting these guys in front of me give me as much draft as they can. I'm not considering popping mine yet. I'm quite happy sitting in the middle of the pack here. Aim for the race, try and get halfway up the pack. And I know I'm not going to be competing for the front of the race. I was in another advanced race this afternoon before I'm riding this evening, and that one absolutely destroyed me. This was stage 6 of Tour de Zwift, and I got dropped within like the first 5 minutes and just couldn't get back onto the group, so I finished in the last place on that race. So anything better than last today is going to be an improvement. Right, so the pack's actually getting away from me here, and just at the nick of time that guy had popped his feather, all the gear. This guy, he's wearing these Rafa 500 bibs jersey with his Tour de Zwift back to front cap, so he means business, but it's a perfectly timed feather from him. He's got the pack and it's allowed me to get in his draft and get me back on, so yeah, I owe him one. Must be feeling it now that I'm getting the guns out. Heart rate's at 186, quite high heart rate, and I'm beginning to struggle. So I'm trying to keep my watts around 5 watts a kilo for these Pain Cavern efforts. But the heart rate, when it's up at 180s, you know, that's warning signs for me. I have been as high as into the 200s, low 200s, 204 I think is my max, but that's after very long, savage sprints. There's still a lot of race left in this one, so I'm not wanting to go much higher than where I'm at the moment with the 180s. This chaser pack's getting a wee bit ahead of me, a wee bit out of sight, and I'm struggling to catch them, to be honest. I've still got my feather, but I'm kind of stubborn and not wanting to pop it yet. I know that this climb levels out these sections, so I think I can make some time back on the flats if I just stick with it for the remaining pushes on this climb. I've got a big effort coming from the guy behind me. He's closing in fast to 2-1, and I use his draft quite well here, so yeah, I owe him another one for that. He's done a big push to get back onto the pack, and that's allowed me to get into his draft and get back onto this chasing pack as well. So a couple of riders dropped from the back of the group there. 3 riders didn't make it coming out the climb. But there was nothing really to see until we got to these tunnels. With one of the other guys in our chasing group, he attempts a breakaway out front. It's quite hard going given that it's kind of gravelly roads here. The rolling resistance isn't going to be great, and we're going to be going into a decline going through this canyon. So as we've got half a dozen or more riders, the momentum's really going to be with the group, and quite hard for anyone to do a solo breakaway. A few of them attempt to group up at the front, but there's enough of us together that we just close in on that, not let anybody get too far in front. And if you watch the American Dugnut here, he's hitting 10 watts a kilo, he's going for a break just as we're coming into the smoother tarmac. Japanese guy spots it as well. He's pushing big watts to try and catch it. It's going to be a difficult task when there's a big bunch. We've got the momentum coming downhill, and all he's really doing here is just tiring himself out and giving us a nice bit of draft. So we do increase the pace a wee bit to try and catch him, but yeah, as we come into the rougher sands, the group's all still together. So we've got 2.5k to go. The lead pack, they've got 50 seconds on us, so we're never going to be catching them given the distance that we've got remaining. So the final challenge of the race here is this Corkscrew climb on the Mech. But one rider, he goes out hard from the front to try and get an advantage on the climb. The HCT rider, he's trying to take the apex line on the far left. I think he's probably doing himself more harm than good. The draft that we're getting from the riders here in the middle is probably outweighing what you're saving in terms of cutting the corners. He's having to pop his feather as well to regain some momentum, I think, that he lost from coming out of the draft. Now at this time I'm thinking I'm catching these guys, and it's kind of like false progress. I'm catching some of the slower guys that are drifting off, but if you look at the times at the right hand side of the screen, you've got the French guy 5 seconds, Dixon 4 seconds, but these guys are pulling away out in front. That time's increasing. So it looks like I'm catching some, but I'm not catching all of these guys. I'll try and push it a wee bit harder, as I know that they're getting away from me. But it's going to be difficult now that they've got a draft and there's a few of them in rotation. Yeah, now they've got a 5 second, some of them 10-second gap in front. All I'm doing now is really just helping the guys behind me by leading them into the final sprint section and giving them a nice draft. I'll pop my feather, which I've been saving for the full race, and I should have gave myself more of a wind up for this sprint. I was going into it quite slow, and leading 2 guys out in a draft, you're asking for trouble really. I can see the Belgian behind me, 12.5 watts a kilo. He's coming in quick and he's going to nip it here just at the line. GG's, well done. So that's week 1, stage 1 in the bag for Zwift Games. Quite pleased with that. 12th out of 22. It's not quite top half, but it's in the middle of the pack. Some serious racers in there. 5.1 watts a kilo, 4.8. And a lot of these guys are the guys who broke off at the very beginning of the race. So they were going hard for the full duration and deservedly getting their podium spots. Cool. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you next week for another Zwift Games.